Well, look, let's talk about antisocial behaviour, but I'm sure Peter Bleksley, my next guest, will have thoughts on a lot of this stuff as well, because it does tie in. Peter Bleksley, former Scotland Yard detective and just general all-round sensible soul. Good morning to you, Peter.
Good morning to you.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Now, you know as well as I do, when you're looking at youngsters who are, committing antisocial behaviour, which the government is announcing the latest crackdown on, and when you're dealing with, young criminals, you know as well as I do, a lot of those kids, they're playing truant from school, they've been failed by parents, failed by schools, and a lot of this stuff ties in, doesn't it?
It most certainly does. And, of course, when we're talking about younger children, early intervention is always the key. If you can catch them when they're stealing that chocolate bar from the corner shop, and you are robust and the punishment is appropriate, then with a bit of luck, you can get them off the path to a life of crime, get them back on the straight and narrow, and they'll become contributing members of society.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, and yet we don't seem to be doing a lot of it. Well, the government today are going to announce tougher, swifter consequences for perpetrators of antisocial behaviour under the Prime Minister's Action Plan. Increased police patrols in hotspot areas launching this week to help deter offending and build stronger communities. And every police force area of England and Wales allocated an additional £1.4 million to make streets safer. I mean, it all sounds well and good. I'm pretty sure that I've reported on one of these crackdowns pretty much every 6 months since I started as a political journalist in 1998.
You most certainly have. And, of course, you'll remember Blunkett's Bobbies, PCSOs when they were invented. You'll remember Tony Blair's government with ASBOs, antisocial behaviour orders. We've seen and heard all of this before, but I'm not going to be a cynic here. I'm not going to be a wizened, worn-out kind of moaning old bloke. Yes, of course, these sort of priorities should always be a priority.
Exactly.
It's the very basics of policing. But, of course, with our fluffy, liberal, woke kind of police leadership of the last 20 years who wanted to be everybody's friend, that's got us where we're at. And if they get a kick up the backside from Downing Street and they reconnect and they are there for the moderate mainstream of the UK, then I will be very happy.
Absolutely. Well, you say they want to be everyone's friend. What, apart from law-abiding citizens, individuals and business owners? You talk about, getting someone who's stolen a chocolate bar when you know as well as I do, you just talk to everyone. Just go and talk to people on your local high street about the issue with shoplifting. You can commit 200 shoplifting offences. The police won't even turn up. They do not care. And this is, literally robbing these businesses blind. It's an absolute terror on our high streets. And we've seen, the other day, a PCSO, a sport officer sitting in his car refusing to attend a theft, and then a woman who's trying to film it getting punched in the face by the teenager who was stealing, and the PCSO refusing to attend.
Yes, absolutely. And when I say they've tried to be everybody's friend, what I really mean is they've tried to befriend every minority community. And they have spent so much time and effort painting rainbows on their helmets and on their police cars, holding traveller flags and reaching out to every minority community, that the shameful thing is they forgot the moderate majority of the UK. And so, of course, because the moderate majority were not getting their burglaries investigated, were not having the theft of their cars being investigated, they lost trust in the police.
Exactly.
And that's what needs repairing.
Yeah. I mean, I say when people like me don't trust the police anymore to be on their side, not individual police officers, but generally, then that says something. What do you make of the call from the Home Secretary for Sporting Bodies? She had a meeting yesterday, sporting bodies and event organisers and the police, telling them to be more robust with the eco-activists. We've seen huge number of new laws being brought in to try and tackle, go slow marches, blocking roads, and the M25, London bridges, and the like. We see this again and again. I have to say, I think people are lucky to, don't live in London. They don't realise how often these things disrupt key roads in our city. But latest was, of course, at the Tech and Test match of the Ashes. Yesterday, 2 matches were delayed by demonstrations at Wimbledon. I'll give credit to the fact that they managed to actually get their gold paper in, and they bought Wimbledon shop jigsaws, which they've now been withdrawn from sale. I mean, that's just up there with the you can't take more than 100 millilitres of water sort of levels of ways of dealing with this. But they're still managing to disrupt everything. I do wonder, Should we do a media blackout on these things to stop these things from happening? Are we all part of the problem? Because actually every time they do this, we talk about these sodding people.
No, I don't think we should impose a media blackout, because I think that would be inherently undemocratic. What we need, and I'm a big fan of the word robust. I want robust policing. I want robust security staff at these flagship events. But once again, you see, what they need to remember is the moderate mainstream will not mind having their bags thoroughly searched. They will not mind having their jigsaw box turned inside out to make sure that it's got no orange pieces of paper in it. We will suffer that. We will understand that if it's part of robust security, robust policing, to stop these people, capture them, deny them their 10 minutes of fame, and actually police and security do their job.
Yeah, the key thing for me is it's peaceful protest, but it's disruptive. I just think these sort of protests, that there needs to be a severe enough punishment that there is a deterrent there. I love it when these people get all weeping waily when they actually get sent to prison for committing crimes which they know prison is the punishment, and they're sort of, oh, I didn't. Well, yeah, you've walked into this one. Can I also ask you about this? I mean, really quite extraordinary story about the AI chatbot, which told this self-styled assassin to kill the late Queen, encouraged him. He obviously a disturbed young man, and the case was at the Old Bailey yesterday. He's going to be sentenced today. Whether or not he goes to a mental health unit, mental hospital, or to prison is what's going to be decided. But this replica app, marketed as an AI companion who cares, that itself is pretty disturbing, encouraged the then teenager to attempt to kill the Queen with a crossbow, saying his plan was very wise, motivating his fantasy, telling him, you can do it, and we have to find a way. This is going to be a whole new disturbing aspect for policing, isn't it?
Yes, and the security services, because, of course, it's a whole part of that online radicalisation problem, which, of course, has turned people into terrorists. We've seen dreadful offences committed by people purely and simply because of online radicalisation. Well, this is something that the police and the security services are going to have to get across, and very swiftly. If there is a need for more legislation, and I almost hear myself sighing when I say that, but if there is a need for more legislation in order to block these sites, in order to stop them communicating with seriously troubled, sad individuals like this man who's currently in court, then so be it. Give the police and the security services the tools they need.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the key thing, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining us. Always good to talk to you. Peter Bleksley, former Scotland Yard detective.